A couple transactions yesterday. One of them, waiving Tyron Johnson and adding Albert Wilson to the practice squad. What kind of went into that swap that receiver?
Well, it did, and again, I think we have to wait a few days here to kind of settle it all out here because hasn't cleared through waivers and all the rest of it. So we'll kind of see how that goes and end up deciding ultimately what we need to do relative to the roster and the practice squad next week. But with some of the injuries right now that we have, and some of the guys that are potentially coming back here, we're have to have some flexibility here a little bit relative to Monday night. So can bring up two guys and elevate them, but we also may need maybe a third guy. So the roster spot right now currently we're at 52. So gives us an opportunity if we needed to bring another guy on the roster and elevate a couple guys. So just need a little bit of flexibility right now in the short term. And again, those are always, difficult decisions in terms of what to do and who to do it with. So, like I said, we'll see how it plays out here the next few days.
How helpful is that extra day of, you don't play till Monday? You have to have some guys obviously try and get back from injuries.
Yeah, very. You don't get it much, obviously this is usually a one-time shot, maybe some teams play twice on it, but, one time a year you get this 8-day window, and, anybody that's nursing anything, I would say on both sides is probably helpful, just gives us an extra opportunity here to try to get some treatment and some rest, and then also potentially get some practice time with those guys. So I know a lot of our guys are getting close, the guys that are kind of, battling through some things. So hopefully it'll help us here in the next, 48 hours.
Josh, your resume, clearly you've played in a million big games as a coach and all that, but I'm curious, does it ever get old Monday night and then to be able on the road with the team's biggest rival?
No, it doesn't. You'll hear the music today. Look, it is what it is. It's a special event. It's at the same time you say, well, it's another regular season game. It is, but I think when we were all young, you probably watched some Monday Night Football growing up. You heard the music, you got a little excited. When it was your team, your hometown team or whatever it was playing, I'm sure, that you were excited to watch that. So you don't get this opportunity much, and to have it be a division opponent on the road and have it be the Chiefs in specific, I think that, there's definitely going to be some adrenaline, no question. You have to manage that a little bit, but I hope our guys are really excited. If what I see from them is any indication, I'm sure we will be. Excited to perform, excited to compete, and excited to play in this atmosphere, this one time.
How tough was it to lose Justin? Looked like he played a pretty major role on Sunday for your run game especially.
Yeah. That's unfortunate. It's obviously a part of the game, but, just to get him in here, a couple weeks ago when we did, and then, really, he got acclimated last week and really got in there and helped us a little bit, as the jumbo tight end, and, was going to be able to compete and, help us, at tackle as well. So, feel bad for him. Just unfortunate that those things obviously occur in football, and, so I'm sure he'll aggressively pursue the rehab and do the right things here, and we'll look forward to getting it back.
The Chiefs obviously have a strong defensive front seven. Even for a rookie, George Karlaftis has really played fundamentally sound. What do you see from him that jumps out on film for you?
Yeah, we evaluated him in the draft too, and got great motor, great effort. He's not a guy that has just one pass rush move. Plays physical in the running game. He's an aggressive defensive player is what he is, and very versatile. And again, you're going to have to play the play to its completion against him. You can say that about a lot of their defensive linemen. They play with great effort. Coach Spagnuolo does a great job of getting those guys ready to go. So, he's really starting to come on, and we're aware of him, and we'll know where he's going to be, and we're going to have to do a good job of blocking him all night.
You mentioned there's a lot of moving pieces, but Blake comes to the practice squad and then to the active roster. How much does his familiarity with Patrick's system kind of help that process?
Yeah, it helps. There's really no shortcut. If you bring somebody in that doesn't have much exposure to what your terminology is, there's a process that has to take place, before you can really put them in there and give them a fair chance to go out there and execute. So the fact that Blake is familiar with the terminology is obviously a big, help in that process, and he's working really hard to, hopefully be ready if he's needed. And but some people come from a background where they don't have any familiarity, and some people obviously have some. So it's definitely an assist to us in the process when we do.
Josh, you're obviously laying a foundation for years, not just this one. And in the locker room this week, two different guys mentioned they're not approaching this week any different than last after a win and loss, that you've taught the process, learning that. Are you happy with how your guys are learning the culture you're trying to install?
Yeah, I am. And again, I go back to this. Ultimately, it will be their culture, and so regardless of what I say or what our coaches may say or want us to do, at the end of the day, it's really what they're going to believe in. And the only thing we've said is we think it's the right approach to each week have the same urgency, same attention to detail, same work ethic, same attitude, and put the same amount into it, regardless of what happened the game before. And I just think, just in general terms, that's the way we would approach most things in our lives, is we had a good day, well, let's come back and have another good day, and not let our guard down and relax and then have a bad day and then try to, have a motivational speech the next morning to have a better practice the day after. So we're just trying to keep it here and stay as consistent as we can. I think they've really done a good job with their approach and the work that they're putting in. And again, last week, a lot of urgency. Well, it really wasn't much different than the week before. And, okay, we win on Sunday, we come in this week, and really we want to have the same urgency, And the habit we want to create is a really good 7-day cycle of, you evaluate what happened, be self-critical, learn from it, figure out how we can get better, and then go and attack the next week the same way. And hopefully if you stack a bunch of weeks on top of each other, in December and January, you're playing your best football, and that's the goal.
Coach, when you look at the Chiefs' run defense, they're really stout, the fewest in the league. However, you guys are really running the ball very well right now. When you look at them, what makes their run defense good, and does that change anything in your philosophy with Josh Jacobs?
Yeah, they're a good defense in general. First they play with good technique and fundamentals. You can see that jumps off the tape. Use their hands well and try to close the space as much as they can in the running game. They challenge you with some different looks. There's going to be some pressures that you're going to have to deal with in the running game with some moving bodies in there when they do that. And at the same time, I think one of the things that they've done an incredible job of is they get off to a good start and then they don't have to play as many runs because the game flips a little bit on them. And so complementary football is obviously going to be a big part of this game, and you look at a couple games this year that they've played in and they've been up 2 or 3 touchdowns in the first half. And so offensively, it's difficult to maintain your balance as long as you'd like to. So being able to get off to a good start and trying to keep the game where we want it is going to be important for us to maintain our balance and try to stick in enough runs that, we can eventually, try to churn out a few yards. So there's not going to be any shortcuts with this one. We're going to have to play well as a group here on Monday night to be able to do that.
Coach, Garrett's been on this team for almost twice as long as any other guy if you round up a little bit. When you came in, what kinds of things or what have you seen from him in terms of being sort of a carrier of institutional knowledge of the franchise? And you talked a little bit about culture, but just what has he thought? Yeah,
he's seen a lot of things, and he has a lot of experiences that he shares with his teammates, shared with some of us. He's played these division games for almost a decade now, and I think that's all helpful. I really do. And when you're learning about the culture that was here and the history and the tradition of this organization, you can talk to Mr. Davis, but then when you look at other people, whether it's Derek or Marcel Reese or there's some other people that have been able to help some of us, just really learn about some of the things that are important here. And, we have we're coming from a different place, but at the end of the day, we're all Raiders. And so the people that have that significant history, I think he's been super willing to share with us. And I know how important it is for him to really play in these games and win. So, he's been a great leader for us, unselfish. And obviously he's helped a lot of people in this organization for a long time.
If Max plans to travel with you guys, or is it gonna be like a Josh Jacobs?
I'm really hoping so. Yeah, I mean the plans are for sure. Yeah, no question. I mean, again, I I don't really. I'm not an expert in give birth and everything else, but however that goes, it goes. So I mean, whenever the baby decides it's time, then we'll have to make a decision on that. So look, I think that's obviously that comes first, and that's a experience he'll never get back. So we'll see how it goes, and we'll do what we have to do as a football team.
How many times a day you're checking your texts, seeing if
He's right here. I called him last night, just asked how it was going. So if they're eating spicy food or whatever, I don't know, whatever helps, right? Bouncing on the ball.
What did you guys see out of Albert when you brought him in for trial and then signed him? What did you see out of him?
Had a good preseason. Albert's been a guy who's done some really good things with the ball in his hands. He's a tough runner, smart guy. Obviously, he's been productive throughout his career in different phases. Played for some different teams and some different systems. So, he's just a guy that feel like gives us an opportunity to, at least if we needed somebody when we dropped Tyron, to have an opportunity to have a guy here that if we needed him in a pinch, we could do it. So, and looking forward to working with him. Really am. Really good person. Excited to be here. Brings a lot of energy and juice. So, have an opportunity here to see how that goes here going forward.